kind of grabs you by the heart when you see it, doesn't it?
Yeah, like that's not cool. Like,
It's not, is it? What part about it would you say makes it feel like it's
like just in like the
Yes.
environment and all that.
yeah, abuse to animals, right?
Yeah, just like throwing
First
them
and
around,
foremost.
like.
Yeah, like little baby cows
You
here.
around like that. You wouldn't like that.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Do you know why this guy's throwing these baby calves in this operation here?
So they can kill them and so we can eat them and stuff, right?
Yeah, actually, these baby cows, most of them, they aren't really. This isn't for human consumption. I mean, they have soft leather and whatnot, but there's a reason that all these are Holsteins here, and these are products of the dairy industry. It pains me to say products, really, because they're babies who were actually just snatched away from their mothers. Which, that like this footage here is probably for me the worst to watch out of this. But the reason it's happening is something that nobody really talks about. Have you ever thought about like why or where milk comes from?
Not really.
Like, do you know? I never thought about this either for most of my life until somebody pointed it out to me. But do you know what the reason is that a cow makes milk, or why a cow makes milk?
No, it sounds dumb to say no.
No,
Like,
not
I
at all.
know.
I mean, I felt dumb when I realized it because I never thought about it because I just thought, it's because they're milk cows and milk cows make milk. And I actually grew up in Wisconsin, thinking that. But the reason a mother cow makes milk is the same reason a human mother makes milk is for her baby, right? So in order for her to make milk, she has to have a baby first. So the way it starts out is she has to be artificially inseminated. Otherwise, she won't just start making milk. So a farmer will stick his fist, up to his elbow, really, in her anus, and he has to find her cervix and hold it, and then he injects her with Volsing while they have her tied down. And then just like a human mammal, 9 months later, she has a baby and she starts making milk. But within the first couple days, the farmer has to take that baby away because otherwise the baby will drink the milk. It's pretty horrible, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah, I never thought about all these things myself. I was vegetarian for a really long time. And I just felt like, cows, they make milk and it's kind of like it's free. But it turns out, a mother cow, she can live for 20 to 25 years also, just like left to a normal life. But, she has to be re-impregnated every year in order for her to keep making milk. So usually she'll last for about 4 cycles of that. And then essentially she's just like pumping out milk for like, 4 or 5 years straight. And then she's just like exhausted, really. And at that point, she might fall down or something, or she just stops making as much milk. And then she goes off to make hamburger from. And so in that time, she'll have like 4 babies on average. And statistically, it'll probably be 2 boys and 2 girls. So the 2 boys, that's a pretty easy one. It's like nobody needs a boy cow in the dairy industry, so they essentially just go straight to the slaughter mill. And depending on the veal market, which there usually isn't a high demand for it, as I understand. But some will be kept in those little crates for several months to fatten up for veal. But most of them are just disposable, except for that one unlucky girl that has to replace her mother and go into that process.
Oh my god.
This is probably the other part that is like, what do you think is happening here? It's really horrible, isn't it? Do you need a hug?
I haven't drunk at
It's
all.
all right. It's all right. I have cried my eyes out over this stuff so many times.
Because question.
It's all right, you know.
That's fun.
What this is like a human
That's
reaction.
really like a baby. Those are like animals. They feel that shit.
They do.
That's what happens.
That's sad. It's like baby church. I know.
They're gonna show the.
Yeah. So you said you have chickens, or?
No, I have a duck.
A duck?
Yeah, she was in my neighborhood, and my mom picked her up because she was like not keeping up with her mom, and so we kind of raised her and everything.
Oh, that's
and,
cool.
Yeah, she stays in my backyard, and she's really friendly and everything, and she's nice and stuff. We take care of her, but like,
That's awesome.
yeah, I couldn't imagine.
She probably has like quite a personality
Yeah,
too.
she does.
She's the
No,
best.
Sometimes
you
she
know,
bites,
yeah.
but it's okay.
Like humans, right?
Yeah, like
My cat is like super moody.
yeah.
Yeah, she's like a real sweetheart, and then she'll just like turn and slash me if I don't give her crunchies.
Yeah.
So do you know what that was that you were looking at there? It's that is the start of the egg industry. In order to have egg-laying hens, you have to hatch them first, and they will only lay eggs for so long before they're completely exhausted, which is a pretty short amount of time. So they have these huge hatcheries that all day long, every day, they breed chickens, and so they pop out millions of eggs. And chickens have now been bred so that the day they pop out of their shell, you can see if it's a boy or a girl. And so if it's a boy, just like the baby cows in the dairy industry, they're worthless. A boy chicken cannot ever make any eggs. And they can't really raise them for meat either because they're different than the broiler hens, which are a freak of nature, really. So baby boy, egg-laying hens don't exist. So the minute they pop out of their shell, a worker can see that it's a boy, and they just like throw them down a chute. And it's perfectly legal for them to just throw all those baby chickens into a dumpster and tie up the bag. Or usually they throw it in a macerator like that and just grind it up. Sometimes they'll gas them. So I imagine it doesn't make you feel good either. So given that most people feel just like you and I do about this stuff, when they see it and when you talk about it, what do you suppose the reason is that this keeps going on?
So are you trying to make people stop eating animals, or are you trying to just make this?
Yes, actually we are. We're all vegan here. For whatever reason, I changed my diet for my health actually. And then I learned about the heavy impact on the environment, and then I just thought about, wow, for like 44 years of my 47 years, I've participated in this, and I feel the way you do, that these animals have personalities just like a dog or a cat. They can think and they can feel, and they feel pain, and their life has a value to them. But so what do you think the reason is that this keeps happening?
They're eating them. They're still eating it.
That's right, because people buy it, right? Because we supply and demand. We pay for it, and then these people, it looks so horrible, and a knee-jerk reaction is to say these are really horrible people that do these things. But the reality is, it's a job, and the places where they have most of these meat plants are in very poor places where there aren't many opportunities. A lot of times it'll be illegal immigrants that are doing the dirty work, and they pay dearly for what they have to do. But you hit the nail on the head there. It's supply and demand. I think most people, when they just think this stuff through, they don't want to participate in it, but it's a matter of, all around us, we have this other message. Like, what are some of the other reasons that this keeps happening, besides supply and demand?
No one's really talking about it, I guess, acknowledging it. I mean, you guys are obviously, but no one really does anything about it.
It's a taboo topic, isn't it? Because all day long we hear messages on the TV. It makes people feel guilty too. they might feel like they're being guilted. So it's a difficult conversation to have. But I think very meaningful also.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I was standing on the side and I just kept seeing people like, oh, no, I don't see that. But they're still gonna go eat like meat in every meal. I mean, I try not to eat too much. Like at least one meal a day. I don't have it, but like I don't know. It's hard to stop eating.
So yeah, I mean, when we're brought up this way, right? We learn to eat this way, and it's part of our habits. And as a matter of convenience, it's like we don't know where to find other things to eat. So how do you think? Like, have you ever faced another challenge in your lives, like where you were in a situation where you didn't know how to take the next step? What did you have to do at that point?
Look for help somewhere else. Ask for guidance.
You just have to do some research, right? You maybe ask people questions, or now we have the internet, right? It's like you can find amazing things out on the internet. For me, there was like a wall I had to cross where and I followed my wife into this.
Really?
But for me, there was this barrier that I thought it wasn't safe to not eat animals. And then there was one piece of information that changed my mind really, and that was an official statement that was made by the American Dietetics Association, which is like the largest and most respected dietary association on the planet, that has stated that no one in any stage of life has to eat any animal products, milk or dairy, eggs, to be healthy and thrive. Whether you're an elderly person, a newborn baby, a pregnant mother. So, does this interest you guys at all? Do you think maybe you could change, based on what we talked about here? What do you think your biggest hurdles would be to changing?
I mean, veganism is typically more expensive, is what I've seen. But obviously, you can get around that. And when our families don't change, that would be hard to,
Yeah, that's a couple of good points there. Really though, I found out, that being vegan is actually super inexpensive if you eat well. You can buy all the same foods that you ate before, really. You can get hamburgers, you can get chicken, you can get seafood products that are made out of plants, and I think they're healthier than the real thing. I mean, they don't have the cholesterol, they don't have a lot of the toxins. But if you just eat beans and grains and greens,
protein, yeah.
All sorts of really great plant foods, fruit, and vegetables, it turns out it's really healthy for you. And, the social stigmas, dealing with a family, that's a difficult thing also. What do you think a good way to get over that hurdle might be?
Move out.
Move out. Well, that's one solution.
I mean, I think what you guys are doing is really cool and stuff like that. I'm not sure if I'd want to just go cold turkey like that. It's pretty ironic saying turkey, but
it's a weird saying.
Yeah, but I mean, I get what you guys are doing.
You can't just strip away everything out of your life that you've had enjoyment in for years and years and years, right? Without replacing it with some other things that fill the space, right? You can't just say, oh, I'm going to take out everything that I eat and just eat, Rice Krispies or something. You have to find other good things to eat, right? So what would be a good way to go about doing that?
Little by little.
Yeah.
Eating
I mean, I know a lot of people that they take one meat away at a time.
Yeah, that's achievable. In hindsight, that's kind of how I did it.
Really?
Yeah, I did a little bit of this, and then I found out some things, and a little bit of this, and I found some more things until I cut the last foods out. In hindsight now, I feel like
gone through a lot.
These people that can figure it out right away, when you cut all the animal products out, your body has to adjust because you have to develop this gut biome that digests all these good foods, which were our bodies were really built for. But if you throw a dead animal part in there, if you think about, when you throw a wrapper for some chicken or something in the trash, and then you take the trash out a few days later, you open up the door, it's like, it smells horrible, doesn't it? But that's like sitting in your body. And there's like all sorts of nasty toxins in that food that your body's not really equipped to handle.
And like you can get diseases from it and parasites, all that stuff.
That's true, diseases and parasites too.
Yeah. Did you take I know a lot of people take a lot of like vitamins and like, what are they called?
Supplements?
Yeah, supplements. Do you do that?
Well, it's interesting. We only take one supplement, and it turns out that every American should really take this one supplement. It's B12, and that's like one of the things we run up against a lot. Like people will say to us in these conversations, they'll say, "Oh, well, you're going to become B12 deficient." But what B12 is actually a microbe that lives in the soil. And so, a long time ago, when we used to dig things out of the soil and eat them, we would all get those microbes. But these days, our soil is so stripped clean that those microbes don't even live in the soil anymore. And so even farm animals, they're injected with B12, and they're given supplements for B12. So when you get B12 from eating animals, it's from eating animals that ate a supplement.
You could get it without the animals.
Yes, yeah, and it turns out it's really cheap too. It costs like, I want to say it's like $5 or $10 for like, maybe it's like a half a year's supply or something. I just take like one of those a week, and it's like plenty of what you need. But it turns out most Americans are deficient in B12, so it's a good thing to do anyways. So what do you think? Do you think you might try this?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Like, what do you think your hang-ups would be?
Well, at home I mostly just eat chicken. Like we don't really have pork, beef, or steak or anything. So I mostly just eat chicken. But I try to like mix a lot of vegetables in what I eat at home.
Cool.
So
you're like
I could
halfway
just-
there already?
Yeah, I could just kick out the chicken.
That's so simple. It's like you just need to take the chicken out. Yeah. By the way, that's like really great. That you gave such a positive affirmation of that. I think the big hang up for a lot of people is like all these misconceptions. But when people can just see this and see how wrong it is, usually that's a person who just like thinks about the ethics first. And for me, it was kind of backwards. I had selfish reasons really, because my health was a problem, and I wanted to fix my health first. And it wasn't until after that I learned, how horrible this is. But taking chicken out, that's easy. Like, have you ever heard of these products called Gardein? It's a brand name.
Maybe. Do they make like little chicken nuggets? I don't
They
know.
do.
One time my mom bought plant chicken nugget things.
Oh, they could have been them.
and They were good. They were okay. So.
In most grocery stores that I've been to down here, it seems like they carry Gardein products in the freezer section, and they usually have like a whole section in the freezer, like Publix and Winn-Dixie. Yeah, Winn-Dixie's got them too. And definitely some of the other stores like Whole Foods and. I'm not sure if Walmart does. Walmart does have like plenty of other good vegan products also. But all you need to do is like take whatever you're making with chicken and put the Gardein chicken in there, and it's an easy way to start off. Or if you want, you can just stick with that really. I was going for fixing my health really. So that's how I weaned myself off of eating animals, was putting these Gardein products into what I normally ate. Because in my head, it was like, I felt like, well, the dead animal there, that was like the main course. So to take that away felt strange, But now I don't even think about that. And usually I just eat a bowl of beans and greens and grains and eat lots of fruit, and it's super healthy. Cool. Well, that's great to hear. So, here's where we try and steer people.
Yes.
And it's got this this program here, kickstart.pcrm.org. And what this is there's great movies here you can watch that talk about the environmental effects and the health effects, like Cowspiracy, that's all about the environment. What the Health, that's all about how eating animals affects our health. And they don't have this gory stuff in it. But if you want to make a change, there are great support groups on the internet. This one, kickstart.pcrm.org, it's totally free, and it's run by the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. And it's an amazing group that's like changing laws in America, really, and watching what advertisers do and stuff. But they have great meals. They have they have ingredient lists, help you do your shopping, and give you all sorts of support on all these things that you have to learn about, like if you have any concerns about iron or calcium or B12, they can answer any of those concerns you have. And, there's that one. There's also this one, Challenge 22, which is on Facebook, and that one's like a forum where they have professional dietitians on staff to answer any of these questions, and they post recipes regularly, and then people also trade recipes on there too. So you think you might give it a go? Cool, that's great to hear. That's awesome. What do you think? You think you might give it a go?
Yeah, sure. I'll just
Sure. What is it? What is it that feels insurmountable?
What?
Like
hard to do?
Like when you see this stuff, how does it make you feel?
Bad.
Bad. Like what part makes you feel bad?
Them dying.
The way we treat them, right?
Yes.
Do you think we need to eat animals to be healthy?
I mean, I know we don't, but they just taste good, to most people.
That's true. The thing is, now you can get products that all taste pretty much identical. But I'll point something else out to you. This program called Challenge 22. The reason it's called that is because psychologists have figured out that to change any habit in our lives, it takes about 3 weeks, like 21 days. And if you take a habit out of your life for 3 weeks and you don't touch it for 3 weeks, like if you go all the way for 3 weeks.
Oh God.
Did that sound weird? Yeah, anything really. Smoking's a tough one. I've been there, but if you take any habit out of your life for 3 weeks, after that time's up, you don't really feel like you need it. Like you've changed all your thinking.
Yeah.
So the 22nd day, you're like a new person. So I'll write this other one down on here for you too. That's because that PCRM website is it's really professional, and you just look at the pictures on it, and it's like, oh, I want to try that. That's how you feel. Kickstart.pcrm.org. You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for caring. Thanks for stopping by.
Have fun.
Thanks.
Fun.
Take care. Have a good night.